Hi, Sharon Durbin Graves, Painting with Acrylics 101.com, out here in my studio, and today we're going to talk about supports. Supports are just what you paint on. Doesn't really matter. It's all supports. So today I'm going to start off with a piece of poplar. This is just wood. I would cover this with some gesso, and you could use color gesso, you could use white, and I would sand it, clean it, put on a coat of gesso, sand it, wipe that off, put on another coat. You want a fairly smooth surface. This is really good to paint on if you're doing portraiture, because you're not fighting the tooth of canvas all the time. So I have a friend of mine had a factory where he made cabinets, and so I have a boatload of these. I'm a very lucky girl. And, okay, so the next thing I have, this is a canvas panel. Okay, it's just very thin. It's got paper on the back, but it's got canvas. You can hear that tooth there. Okay, so these are great because they're inexpensive and you can learn a lot without spending a fortune. But you can also get a nice painting on there, and then these are easy to frame. They come in regular sizes, 5x7s, 8x10s, 11x14s, 9x12s. You can get them in all. You can get them up to like a 16x20, maybe even an 18x24. But they're good because you can learn a lot, and you haven't spent a fortune. And as a beginning painter, which is what I normally teach beginners, you don't want to spend a fortune on supports when you're just learning. Now this is a stretched canvas, okay? You can see it's about 1 inch, and on the back, the staples of the canvas are all the way around. Now you can make these, or you can buy these. You can buy these in, like a place from Dick Blick Art Supply, Jerry's Artorama. You can buy them. Hobby Lobby had, they all carry these, and you can sometimes find them like 5 or 6 in a pack. You can buy them by the case. I love this particular size. This is an 11x14. It's one of my favorite things to paint on. I don't usually paint great big works. Behind me is 16x20, and so 18x24. I've painted bigger, but not real often. And then another thing that I think beginners maybe overlook, but shouldn't, is watercolor paper. Okay, this is just Canson watercolor paper. This one came from Hobby Lobby. Let's see, it was $10.27, and there are 30 sheets in there, so that's like 30 cents a sheet. And it has tooth on it. It's heavy duty. It's 140 pounds. Now when I use watercolor paper, I get a wooden board, and I tape the paper on there with painter's tape, and because it's gonna warp. This is the paint is wet, so it's gonna warp. But if you'll leave this tape on here until it completely dries, when you take the tape off, you have to be careful, because sometimes you might tear your paper, so you want to be very careful when you take it off. But it'll be flat, and so you won't have your paper won't be warped. It won't look odd in a frame. If you get something you really like, you can mat it, frame it, sell it, give it. That's a wonderful tool to use to learn. Now for practice, I know y'all are going to think I'm crazy, but I go to the grocery store and buy a big box of freezer paper. And freezer paper is real slick on one side, and it's dense, or it's dull on the other. It's shiny on one and not shiny on the other side. And so when I use that, I stretch it out on a big board. I might tape the edges, because it's been rolled up. It's going to try to roll up on you. But if I want to practice, that's just the best way. I can when I learn to paint something new, I can just do it over and over and over. And because I paint on the slick side, I'm not fighting the tooth of the canvas or the watercolor paper. I'm just trying to, how does this work? How can I turn this pedal and make it turn? And freezer paper is just the best, cheapest thing you can get to practice on. And as a beginner, that's what you need. You need something that that you can practice on, and if you want to wad it up and throw it away, you can. You haven't invested in. You can buy a box. The biggest box they have is like $7, and it's got like 100 yards in it. So you're going to use it for years, but it's just the best thing for practice. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this today. If you have, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. There's usually a little bell that pops up. Click that bell and it'll notify you every Friday when I upload a new video. That's when I usually do it. I try to do it on Friday, but sometimes things just don't work out well. I don't know about you, but sometimes for me they just don't work out well. But anyway, and if you my website is www.paintingwithacrylics101.com. It's a beginning online art school. There's a full-blown art class. There's individual single subject art classes. There's a free blog. There's a free class on there learning how to paint daisies. So anybody should go there. If you're interested in learning how to paint, you should go there and check it out, see what's available there. And I do have one other thing. I don't know if you're like me. I always thought there was an artist in there somewhere. I always knew it was in there somewhere, but life got in the way. And so I got to a certain age, and I said, I'm going to learn how to do this. And so anyway, I've created a free Facebook group called Bucket List Artists, and it's for people who've always wanted to learn to draw or paint, but life got in the way. I post live in there. I do a live in there on Thursdays about 1 o'clock, if everything goes right. And I post throughout the week of hints, tips, tricks, challenges, things like that. It's a safe place for a beginner to hop in there and say, oh look, I did this, and not be afraid. There's not going to be any big critiques or anything like that. It's just a safe place for you to be able to. A lot of times we hide behind the fact that we're trying to learn how to paint or draw as an adult, and so you don't have to hide anything here. Everybody's just like you. They're all pretty nervous. They all are just trying to learn the best they can. So I hope that you'll go to Facebook, look up groups, and then type in Bucket List Artists and ask to join. There'll be 3 questions that pop up. Answer those questions, and boom, you'll be in. And you'll be able to take, I've been doing that for well over a year, so every Thursday there's been a live on there, so there is tons and tons and tons of information for you as a beginning artist. So thank you so much. Have a great day. Let's paint together real soon.